In this video, we're going to go over the 3 steps it takes to create the power function y equals ax to the p. We have 2 points that we want to go through. We have our x and our y here, and another x and y here. Our first step to writing this equation is going to be to find a. Once we find a, we're going to then find p. And lastly, we're going to write the equation. There's our 3 steps. So the first step is to find a. We're going to find a using the point that has the x value 1. So in this case, we're going to use the point 1, 0.5. We'll find p using the other point that doesn't have an x value of 1. So we'll use the point 2, 40.5, and then we'll write our overall equation, which is y equals a x to the p, once we know what a and p are. So our first step is to find a using the point that has the x value 1. We're going to plug in to y equals a x to the p. And we're going to use a x and y from our point to plug in. So the y value of the point is 0.5. We're going to do a x to x is 1, and that's raised to the p. And 1 to any power is just 1. So we have 0.5 equals a times 1, which means a is really 0.5. In other words, a is going to be the y value with the point where x is 1. So a is 0.5 here. And that's again because 1 to any power is always 1. So a times 1 is 0.5. A must have been 0.5. Now we'll use the other point to plug into y equals a x to the p. So we have our x and our y. We're going to use the one that doesn't have the 1 for the x value. We're going to say the y value is 40.5. We've already found a in the first step. It was 0.5. We have the x value of the point, which is 2, raised to the p. So we're going to find p in our second step. So we want to solve for p, which is stuck up in the exponent, which means we're going to use a log to solve for the exponent. Before we do, we need to try to get that p term on one side by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.5 to get 2 to the p on one side by itself. So I'm going to take 40.5 and divide it by 0.5, which gives me 81. I'm going to leave some space here. 81 is 2 to the p. Now to solve for power, we're going to use logs. If this was 4 to the p, I'd use log base 4. If this was 7 to the p, I'd use log base 7. Here, because the base is 2, I'm going to use log base 2, and base 2 will cancel. So p is going to be log base 2 of 81, and I can grab my calculator if I need to and see what log base 2 of 81 is. And we're going to round to maybe 2 decimal places. P is about 6.34. So my final answer, I'm going to write the full equation, y equals 0.5 x to the 6.34. We found a by plugging in the point with the 1 in it. With the x value 1, got a of 0.5. Then you plug in the point that doesn't have the x value of 1 and use logs to solve for the power p. And we just rounded to 2 decimal places, and our final answer is 0.5 x to the 6.34.